Hello everyone, welcome back to another session over in the crafting corner. Today we'll be making name art like this one using paper mosaic tiles. A couple of items you'll need is glue. You can use glue sticks preferably because the liquid glue is a little bit runny. You're going to need a marker to outline your name. You're going to need a pencil to write your name in, and any color of construction paper you want to use. I have a few colors here to pick from, just to play with today. So I am Miss Ingram, but today I'll be making the name Lori, and we're going to just jump right in. Oh, I'm sorry, we'll also need our paper mosaic tiles as well. So I'm just going to use a ruler to make sure that my lines are straight. If you don't have a ruler, you can use a book edge. You can use the edge of another piece of paper to help with it as well, just to make sure that your lines are straight and your lettering comes out about the same size. So I'm just going to, well, I did a top and bottom leveler so that I don't go too far down or too high up. And for her name, I'm just going to start with the marker instead. And I want to make sure that my lines are even, so I'm going to use my ruler to make sure that I don't go over, so that the line is straight, but also so that I don't have to worry about coming down too far. As you can see, with the marker, my line is pretty dark, so that it'll be easier for me to, when it comes time to put the tiles down. And if you want, you can pre-write your name and also trace over it as such. And also you want to make sure that your letters aren't too close together, because when the tiles are pretty big, like 1/3 of an inch wide. So when you're placing them down, you don't want them to run into each other, causing your letters to start to blend in together. And hopefully I didn't place my letters too close together. So that they aren't mushed together when I go to put the tiles on. I think my R and my I may be a little too close at the bottom, but it's alright. I'm gonna make it work. So, because I put drew my line at the top, which you can't see because I did it in pencil, but I did a line at the top and a line at the bottom so that my letters could line up evenly. And then I also drew them pretty big so that the tiles can form the lettering in the right positioning that I wanted to do, as well as trying to keep my letters at, maybe 3 or 4 finger distances apart, except for the R and I right here. That's all right. I'm gonna make it work. So when you go to do your glue, as I stated, with the liquid glue, you might run the risk of having it run too far or using too much glue with the liquid glue, and it'll cause your construction paper to bunch up and it'll throw your artwork way off track, and you don't want to do that. So I'm using the stick glue. I'm just simply rubbing it on piece by piece, making sure that every piece of the letter is covered. You want to put it on pretty thick so that your tiles don't fall off as well. And trust me, it is very easy to use a lot of glue without even realizing it. So I'm going over it a couple times. But it's needed because you don't want your tiles to fall off, and then when you hang your artwork on the wall, or your parent hang your artwork on the wall, it's missing letters, or tiles are missing in the middle of your name. You don't want your A to be missing the top part or the middle part. And just simply keep going over your lettering, making sure that the glue is on there pretty good, making sure your tiles are on there pretty good. If you want, you can always go back over your tiles and press them down. So my first one, the L looks like this. As I go around, it'll start filling itself out. And you don't want to try to, you want to try to keep using different colors as you're going around your letters. You don't want to put the same group of colors in the same spot, because then it might just look a little bit boring. So you want to make sure you're mixing up your tiles and the colors that you're using. You don't have to work as fast as I'm working. You can take your time. Make sure you don't miss any sections or miss any part in your lettering. If you're going to use a name that may be longer, you might want to use smaller lettering, of course. However, I would try to stay away from the lowercase letters, because if you have a name where an O and an A may be together, or an A and an M, like in Samantha, it'll be relatively easy for your M and your A to run into each other, depending on how big of a tile you're using. Okay to skip over some spots. Just make sure you go back and fill them in. Like I skipped a few spots so that I wouldn't have the same colors next to each other. And the cool thing about some of these tiles are it has two different backgrounds on them. So this tile has like a sea green look to it on one side, and then on the other side you have a like a bottom of the ocean type of look to it. You can see that. And if you, like, let's say you're going to put two tiles of the same thing next to each other, you don't have to get a new one. You just flip it over to the other side. One thing you might also want to do is cut your tiles in half to fit into small spots, such as this one right here that I'm about to do. I'm not going to cut mine though, I'm just going to squeeze it in. I may cut it when I get down by the R and the I, so it's not too bunched up down there. Now, I actually like this project. It's very peaceful and relaxing. Play music in the background. You don't really have to worry about messing up because it's your artwork. And as you can see, I did skip over the R because I want to make sure that I have space for my end letters, which would be the L and the I. So I just skipped over the R to make sure that I can fit the I onto the page. And that way, when I go to do the R, if I do have to cut anything so that they don't run into each other, I will be able to do it without having to worry about if it's too far or if it's not enough space. We're almost done here. And like I stated before, you do want to make sure you use enough glue so that your tiles don't fall off once they're done. You don't want your and you also don't want your glue to dry on you while you're in the middle of working on it. That's what I'm doing section by section. I'm not putting too much glue on at one time. Don't outline the whole letter in glue first and then go back and put the tiles on, because then it'll just be a waste of glue. Yep. And I do have a small spot where I do have to cut a tile. So in my eye, it's gonna, like so, take the tile, cut it in half, and then fit it right into this small spot that I have here. And then hopefully I'll be able to use it somewhere within the R in this project instead of having to wait to use the other piece of it later in a different project. I'm just gonna move right on to the next letter as such. It's actually coming out rather nicely. So if mine is coming out this good, I can only imagine how good yours is coming out as well. For your curved letters. So what I found to be easier so that it's not too jumbled in the middle is to go around, stay closer to the outside of the letter instead of working to the inside. Because if you work towards the inside, then when it comes time for like the circles and to come together, your tiles will be touching on inside instead of covering the outside. And one thing you could also do is place your tiles down before you glue. That way you can make sure that you have enough spacing for your tiles, that you're not overusing tiles or underusing tiles. So we just simply take them and line the lettering. I know I'm doing a lot of flipping of tiles is because I don't want to use the same design in the same spot twice. Then once you're done lining it, you just go back through it, lifting them up one by one and placing them, like pick them up, glue, put glue on them, or glue in the spot, and then you just place it back down. Oh, ran out of space. I'm just gonna cut another one. see the outlining of me just placing them on there before gluing them. But now I know that I do not need all these extra tiles. I'm just gonna move those to the side. And I no longer need my scissors, so I'm gonna move that to the side as well. And then I'm just gonna go through, put glue on the tile this time. Place it back down. And just go through. Going each tile back down into place. Be careful not to, if you're gonna put the glue on the tile, be careful not to stack it on top of another one unless it's in place. That's the actual place you want it to go. And be careful that you don't tighten it onto another tile that's not even glued into place, because then you'll just have to go back and re-glue 2 tiles instead of 1. There. We have 3 more tiles to go. It looks like I misjudged. I have an extra piece left over. That's all right. And always remember, so you're gonna say, well, mine's done. Yep. See, this is why we use extra glue. Pieces are falling off. I'm gonna just take extra more glue. Place it right back on. And then we're going to take our marker and sign our names at the bottom, as well as the year, so no one steals our work. Give your tiles one last push down to make sure they're still on there firmly. And you're done. Now what you can also do is add like a little design to your background. So I'm gonna add like little stars and swirlies just to decorate it more. You know, you don't want it to, if you think this is too plain for you. Okay, just have fun with it. You can color it in, draw rainbows, anything you want on it. Just to make it look a little more you and to your liking. Thank you again for joining us here in the crafting corner, my apologies, crafting corner. And hopefully you'll be back for another session later. Bye.